So as I understand it, we're supposed to have a Godzilla El Nino. And while I love everything about that, what I don't love is what it has the potential to do to my yard. Specifically, I'm focused on this one space over here. So this section over here, I have a couple of pawpaw trees that are underneath this oak tree. I have a Santa Rosa plum, which is the big one, the fig tree. I have some blueberries and a couple of herbs and whatnot growing underneath. But more interesting, what I have is a lot of crabgrass, which is not good. And I have some invasives that I'm pulling out. The thing that happens is back here, because there's this mishmash of invasive weeds, the dirt underneath doesn't necessarily get saturated. So, oh, little bird. So what I am working on is creating something that's closer to a syntropic garden space. So it won't be a proper syntropic garden space. There'll be a little permaculture, there's gonna be syntropic gardening, but mostly the thing I'm looking for is the strata. So you saw the oak tree, I've got the pawpaws, I have blueberries underneath, and then I'm gonna have the ground layer. So really what I'm trying to do is that ground layer to make sure that I have enough mulch and other things to kind of keep the moisture in, which means I don't have to water this area quite as much. But what I also want to make sure of is, if you saw my little nuggets, that they have a space that they can come out and kind of sit and cool off and just be outside without being in the dirt. Because once they're in the dirt, then they roll in the dirt and they love the dirt. Now they're going to dig anyways. I'm not trying to prevent them from digging because that's never going to happen. They're like part dachshund. But I would very much love it if they have a space that they could just bathe in the sunshine and enjoy everything out here without that being the dirt. So you see this space next to my hedge of honeysuckle, jasmine, and clematis, and it provides enough shade here that I figure I can start with the lingonberries here, and then they'll start to grow in. Oops. And then their great ground cover underneath blueberries and the pawpaw tree, provided my dog doesn't dig it up. It's cool. She's just gonna do that. So with that in mind, I am going through and I have bags of compost. I have bags of bark. I also get bags of bunny compost, so it's like the rabbit poop and hay and all of that, and that will act as the top layer as I start to grow plants that will kind of act as ground cover. So I have sweetgrass, and one of the reasons for sweetgrass is I end up being underneath the oak tree. I get lots of oak leaves, and I'm not saying that this is actually scientifically correct, so keep that in mind. But I end up with a lot of, I just let them decompose, but I end up with a lot of mosquitoes. So research shows that sweetgrass is as effective as DEET for mosquito control or repellent. And so why not have sweetgrass, which smells amazing, over here? The other thing I'm doing is I'm gonna have some herbs, and I have lingonberries. My lingonberries in the front of the yard, they get way too much sun at this point. So I'm gonna try to migrate them over here because I have a shaded spot. Got some lingonberries hanging out in the shade. That all along with planting comfrey. So I have this comfrey plant, and I have so much. I have a bunch of little itty bitty comfrey babies, and I am planting those all around so that I can have green mulch, so I can just cut and drop, and that will continue to keep build up the soil quality as well as keep the moisture in. So that is my project for this side yard, and I'll walk you through what's worked and what hasn't. I will say the one thing that I'm making a point to do is just do one little section at a time instead of clearing everything out and then coming back. So I'm just making sure that I do that. And in part, that's just dopamine management from an ADHD perspective. And then as concurrently, I'm also in the city strip over here. It gets full sun and I don't want to have to water it. So I'm setting that area up for dry farming. And I will walk you through in coming videos for dry farming, as well as sort of the trials and tribulations of turning this into a more self-sustaining space that respects the ethos of syntropic gardening as well as permaculture. And I'll kind of give you some video of what I'm planting where. All right, until next time.